Today my guest is Rich Dudley. Rich, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you again, Dave.
Great to be here. We were talking about sponsorship.
Yes.
Because you're a sponsor. You're a sponsor of my group, or we used to be my group. I'm not the president anymore.
Congratulations on no longer being the
I'm
president.
looking forward to doing a lot less.
So yes, in addition to your user group, we were part of over 200 community events and a large number of user groups in 2011. So
let's talk about sponsorship. I know there's a lot of people that listen to this that are involved in the community. They're volunteering for user groups. They're trying to organize events like code camps, give camps, all kinds. There's a lot of stuff going on in the developer community, and it takes money. It takes support from folks like you, like Component One.
And we're happy to do it.
Yeah. So give us some advice. How do we? Those of us who want your support.
Okay.
How do we start?
Well, the first thing is just finding people. I talk to a lot of user groups and a lot of community events where they just don't know how to find the sponsors.
Right.
And the best way to do it is look at a successful user group or successful event site and see who gave them money.
Mm-hmm.
And then typically you'll find in the speaker list one of their evangelists. Or you can just Google around, Component One evangelist or Infragistics evangelist. You'll find our names. And if we're not the right person, it's our job to direct you to the right person.
Okay.
So, if you just, and it can just be as simple as, hey, I'm planning this event, who do I talk to about sponsorship? That's all the icebreaker that we need to get started. Or they say, hey, Dave gave me your name, I run the Toledo group and we're doing an event, would you like to sponsor it? Here's some details.
That's nice. So asking other user group leaders, just ask them, who's your contact at this company? One thing I did was when we started beefing up our sponsorship, I was at CodeMash and I started going from booth to booth, asking, do you sponsor user groups?
Absolutely. And if you do that,
most people said yes.
Absolutely. And if you do that, it's a good idea to have a little calling card made up for your user group with your contact information. Moo will give you 50 cards for free.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to go to moo.com and they'll give you 50 cards.
Right.
Have it made up because at these events, we are inundated with, we're inundated with people. We're seeing a lot of people, and unfortunately, they're going to get lost in the shuffle. It's just busy.
Okay.
So it's good to give us something physical that I can put behind my name tag or in my box of cards to follow up with.
Okay, so for tech community, component vendors like yourself are great. I found that recruiters, companies that are recruiting, people that really want that target audience. Recruiting is a big one.
And that's a good thing to mention is that user groups and code camps are the exact people that we want to find, because someone who gives up a Saturday or 3 days of their life to better themselves is exactly who recruiters want.
Right.
It's exactly who solution providers want. It's exactly who control vendors want, knowing about their controls. And that's an important thing to realize is that when you're running an event that has people at it, you're in the driver's seat. You are exactly what we want to do.
All right, so I've got Rich's name and email address and phone. I've contacted him, or I'm thinking about contacting him. I'm going to contact him tomorrow. What should I say to him?
So, it could just be as easy as, hey, I'm interested, I'm going to run this event. Would you all be interested in sponsoring it? And we'll send back yes, and we'll ask you for some information. And the key thing here is you can either send us a prospectus right away, have a link to
prospectus meaning what the event's all about?
Yeah, what the event's all about. Importantly, how many people you're expecting.
Okay.
And it's nice if you can, over time, if you've had an event that's been around for a couple of years, get a survey when people register. Eventbrite allows you to add a couple of questions to the registration. Give us a breakdown of who's there.
You mean what kind of questions?
So questions like, what's the makeup of the group? Are they primarily developers? Are they IT professionals? Are they DBAs? Things like that, because that helps us tailor our message.
Okay.
We as a components vendor, we're a little less interested in an IT, hardware networking guys than we are, if you've got a group that's all developers and DBAs, much more interested in that.
Okay.
As it stands now, we haven't said no to anybody, but it's good to have that kind of information because we need to know who we're reaching to.
Yeah.
So it's good if you can do that. Let me know where the event is, what the event's about. Is there a theme to the event? Like there was a recent M-Cubed event here. It was all about the 3 types of mobile. So we knew, okay, we can target the message, the talks that we want to provide there if they're taking submissions, the marketing materials that we want to send over, the swag that we want to send over, things like that.
Okay.
So sort of a theme of your event, if it's a jQuery event or whatever. Help us out with that.
And you're telling me that sometimes you get people just asking for support in general. it's better to ask for something specific.
Right. It is much better to ask for something specific, and that includes specific monetary levels, as well as specific things like giveaways or specific types of sponsorships. So some events will ask for a caffeine sponsor to provide the coffee,
Okay.
and it may be equivalent to like their gold sponsorship. So you get all the benefits of the gold sponsorship plus signage at the coffee. I'm all for that because people are coming for the coffee. You know, I mean, it's one more sign. That's great. You know, and the same thing with the monetary levels. A lot of people will break it up into, say, bronze, silver, and gold.
Does that help you?
Metals. It does. It does a lot. In itemizing things that we will, you know, what we get there. So we'll give you, bronze sponsors may get a small table. They get a sign here, and they may get a logo on the website. Whereas a silver sponsor may get a table, the logo on a T-shirt, as well as a logo on the website.
Okay.
And the gold sponsors get a little bit more. And, you know, the money is there.
So, because my user group started doing that, I noticed that a lot of conferences do that. Not many
Yeah.
user groups doing that.
Yeah, not many user groups. More conferences do that. Some user groups will do things where they'll have a platinum sponsor, where you will be the premium sponsor for, say, 2 meetings out of the year.
Right.
And your sponsorship covers sort of their average cost of pizza and some of the signage and defray hosting costs and things like that. And so, you know, they figure if they can pick up 6 sponsors, that's a fair number of sponsors
Sure.
for stuff. So, and sponsors are, you know, sponsors not just the money and the swag, but also the products. We like to give away our products. It
Yeah.
doesn't, I shouldn't say it, but it doesn't technically cost us anything once the products are written
Right.
to give them away to some people.
There's no incremental cost to them.
Absolutely.
Like you guys don't even burn a disc.
No, we
You
don't.
get a certificate,
yeah,
and
we
you
get a-
download the software, right?
Yep, yeah, we don't do any discs anymore. So you get a little you get a code on there, and you go through the shopping cart and you buy it, and you get your 1-year subscription.
You talked about asking for specific amounts of money, and I used to be bad at that. I used to be bad about, I was kind of embarrassed to ask for money.
Sure.
And then I started listing, we as a group, my user group sat down and started listing what the benefits were to the people like yourself, the sponsors.
Right.
The extra advertising, how you're going to do it. And so originally I was really kind of vague about what I wanted. And now I'm not. Now I'm saying, hey, we want $500. We want $1,000.
Absolutely.
Maybe I should say, well, I want $10,000. You know, I don't even know. How do I know what to ask
Well,
for?
for a large enough event, $10,000 is within reason. But
Right.
you know, it depends on the event and the makeup of the event, and we don't have a specific formula. There's sort of a squishy feel to it.
Right.
But you know, the way that we look at it is the industry average for marketing for these
Okay.
types of I'm going to come out and talk to people or get our logo in front of people
Right.
is about $250 per impression. So if you
Impression
have
is what?
just a person who might see your logo at the coffee or an attendee at your event.
Okay.
So we'll assume that they see our logo and they've got one memory of our logo. And so in person, if you're planning, say, 200 attendees, it's not unrealistic to ask for $500. It's also not unrealistic to ask for $1,000 if you provide like an opt-in list or something like that.
Okay.
So-
Opt-in, maybe we'd give email addresses of
Absolutely.
people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, you may be people willing to turn over their email addresses so we can thank them and tell them about our products, or you may send an email on our behalf
Okay.
as well. And it also depends on where you are. You know, we know that places like New York City have some pretty outrageous costs,
Right.
whereas smaller towns don't have such costs. Maybe the venue is free or something like that. So, you know, the main thing is let us know where the money's going. It's good to help us, and we keep all this information in strict confidence. You know, what was your budget?
Okay.
You know, if you're asking for a lot of money, what's your budget?
So that's a good point. So the budget should drive a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And I've seen a lot of, I'm an INETA mentor, so I talk to a lot of user groups and people that are starting small conferences. A lot of people start with a sponsorship. They go after the sponsorship first, and I'm not really sure that's the best way to go. I think they need to plan the conference first, figure their budget out, and then
Right.
go after sponsors.
Plan the conference first, and it helps to find your venue because your venue will sometimes dictate your attendance.
Right.
A lot
And
of them
your
are
cost as well.
And your cost, exactly. I mean, you may get a free venue, but you may only have, say, 300 people. Or you may have to, you know, if you want 600 people, you may have to go to a venue, but that venue cost maybe $12,000.
Right.
Is that incremental increase worth it? I would say no, but
Right.
you can try. So, you know, that will drive what you do. And then, of course, then once you know your people, you know your approximate food budget. Are you providing breakfast and lunch and coffee and snacks? Or are you just providing one lunch? You know, plan that through. And then you'll know about how much you'll need to spend. And, you know, experienced organizers such as yourself will always help with some of the metrics that go into that. And you can look at the restaurants that you might want to order from.
Right.
A lot of conferences have pizza because pizza's cheap.
Right.
Some conferences have Qdoba or Panera, but those are expensive.
Mhm.
You know, they have a good level of sponsorship for that. And some people charge $10 to the attendees too.
Right. Is there any paperwork that I need to do for the IRS?
It's a good point. Yes, if we're going to give a cash donation, my company requires a W-9. Now, if you set it up so that we could say pay for your pizza, we won't require a W-9 there.
It's only when money's flowing through the user groups.
It's only when there's cash involved that we have to have that. And my company's peculiar, and they require a W-9 of all cash contributions. Other companies don't all work the same way.
Other companies are getting more strict about that than they were in the past, I've noticed.
The laws have changed, and they changed back, and, you know, you just don't know what the IRS is going to want for you. Because, you know, if you, like I said, we were part of 200 events. If we start throwing out $1,000 here, $1,000 there, we soon have $250,000 that just went to the ether.
It's some sort of audit trail.
And then, yeah, and then it starts looking like, you know, we're laundering money somehow. So, you know, it adds up over time. So we try and be very careful with that. So, you know, if you don't have a W-9, we can provide a purchase sponsorship. Or you could potentially get an umbrella organization that we can provide a donation to. And then they could handle it however they want to do like that. So we've sometimes donated to somebody's consulting company. Provided them a donation, and they did something with that. So.
Okay. Okay, and tell you what. So you're giving to hundreds of user groups, code camps every year.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give your email address out and get some requests? Is that all right?
Absolutely, yes. It's richd, R-I-C-H-D, at component1.com.
Okay.
My partner is Kevin Griffin. That's Kevin G at component1.